What's up, everyone? I am Travs-T.
I'm Cartoon Joe.
And welcome back to another episode of this freaking show. It is the weekly podcast with a little bit of something and a whole lot of nothing. The same weekly podcast is brought to you by CarterComics.com. It's your one-stop shop for all your comic needs, whether they be graded or raw. Carter Comics has got them all. All you gotta do is go to CarterComics.com, check out their store, check out their amazing comics, throw them into your cart, and then go to checkout. Use discount code FREAKNET, F-R-E-A-K-N-E-T. You'll save 10% on your entire purchase, not just at the website, but they got 4 different eBay accounts, and you can check all those out. Links are on the homepage of CarterComics.com. And yes, our discount code will save you 10% at those places too. What are those called? What are those eBay accounts? Is that what they're
I guess so. Yeah, I don't know what else to call them. Accounts?
Man, I had such confidence in this in this plug. I had such confidence in this plug.
Yeah, it sounded really good. It was going really well.
Right? It was going well, and then I got in my own head, Joe. I got in my own head on it. Oh yeah, 4 different eBay pages. Discount code will work there as well. First regular show back after this freaky show. We're into November, which means we're getting close to the end of 2023.
That's right. 10 more weeks left of the year.
Yeah. I guess that means only. No, it's gotta be less than that.
Is it 10?
No, it can't be 10.
No, it's 8.
8.
It's 8. Sorry.
Yeah. Which means there's only 6 more weeks of us podcasting. Still trying to get more out than we possibly can. Do that for you guys, but of course, we do take the last 2 weeks off because of the holidays and stuff. So, before we dive into anything we talk about today, which I'm still not quite sure what we're going to talk about today, I want to thank everyone who took time out to go to our YouTube channel at Freakin Studios and check out our cemetery vlogs. We just hit a little over 3,000 views on just those vlogs alone. And I'm glad. I'm really glad that happened because it shows that our work that we do, it's not for nothing. So thank you for you guys out there who keep coming back and enjoying the shit that we do here. Yeah, thank you. I guess. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. I look forward to next year's. I'm not sure which state we're going to do. I think Michigan might be the front runner on that decision, or maybe Missouri. But obviously starting Midwest branching out. So we look forward to doing that next year. And again, thank you guys. We do appreciate you taking time out to go to our YouTube channel. And we hope to bring more of that to you. A lot of things I want to do in 2024. I think a lot of things I want to do in 2024 is things I mentioned in 2023. But we'll keep progressing forward and keep bringing you guys as much content as we can, as long as you guys want to hang out. Joe, during the month of October, we really don't talk about anything other than Halloween. Is there anything that happened? I know there's at least one thing I do want to mention that happened in October that we haven't talked about yet. But is there anything on your end that you feel we need to talk about that we haven't had a chance to talk about yet because of this freaky show?
Nothing really comes to mind.
Okay. I know the one thing I do want to bring up is the unfortunate passing of Matthew Perry.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
I'm a huge Friends fan. I remember watching it when it was coming out through the 90s with my mom. The later ones, not so much the newer ones, but the 97 to 2001 seasons.
Sure.
I was also a huge fan of his in the whole 9 Yards franchise with Bruce Willis. I thought those were hilarious and fantastic. It just sucks that he did end up passing away. It's weird because a lot of the people I know also are huge Friends fans, and they were like distraught by his passing, which it is. It sucked. And I know he had a lot of struggles in his life, drug related and everything. And it seems like every time he would get better, he kind of fall off again. And I'm not sure if they really identified what happened with him as of right now.
Other than drowned in his hot tub.
Yeah.
So, which there's a lot of ways to do that. You don't have to necessarily be drunk or high or anything to drown in a hot tub.
No, and I know there was a report that said nothing was around him. There was a few different articles that said a few different things, and I don't remember the names of the websites or the articles or the companies that said anything, so I don't know what is true and what isn't. I know there was one that said that there was no drugs or alcohol found around the hot tub when he was found. There was one article that said that he was taking some kind of medication that addicts do take to kind of help them stay off of their addictions. And there's a side effect in it that affects you. Like, I don't know what it does, but basically says to stay out of hot tubs. I don't know how real that one is. That one seemed a little bit too, exact.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I know, one person I was talking with, actually it was Dr. Doug's daughter, huge Friends fan, and, we're talking about Matthew Perry passing away and everything, and I guess she didn't really know a lot about Matthew Perry. I mean, she knew, Chandler Bing.
Yeah.
But for those who didn't really I know there was I think it was E True Hollywood Stories. I think was when those were still good. I think there was one about Matthew Perry talking about his drug problems and addictions and stuff. And he had it on Friends, went to rehab, came back from it, and went. I think they said he went to rehab 2 or 3 times during the back half of Friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he went again when he had a new TV series and stuff like that. And I think he's been clean for a while. I think that's what everyone was saying. He has kind of cleaned up over the past few years, but there's always a residual, effect to drugs that affects your body.
Right.
So my guess is, without being a doctor or medical examiner, without knowing the whole story, that's my guess is, the residual effects of, his addiction probably just eventually caught up with him. Eddie Guerrero, who is a very well-known professional wrestler from WWE, WCW, ECW, and all that stuff. He was he used drugs and stuff way back in the day. And he, even after he got himself cleaned up and was a born-again Christian, found Jesus and everything, eventually ended up dying from heart issues. And they believe that might have been, a residual effect of drugs. So, what's up?
Yeah. That makes the most sense to me. Alcoholism and opioid abuse both contribute to heart disease, and if you have a heart problem, you shouldn't hot tub. It says it on every hot tub before you get in.
Oh, yeah, real quick. Are you saying it makes no sense to you?
No, I'm saying it makes perfect sense.
Oh, okay. I was really confused. I'm like, well, hold on. Even when you said it again, it's not like you said it made no sense. I was like, I'm so confused. Okay, how did I describe this wrong? But yeah, no, well, I know Eddie, so Matthew Perry died in a hot tub. Eddie Guerrero passed away in the bathroom. But, I mean, like I said, no one really knows what happens, but that's just what I see from an outside perspective. It's a residual, fallout from drug use and everything. So I encourage everyone to stay away from drugs. They're not, all fun.
Right.
Nature. Go for nature drugs. I'm not hearing anyone ODing on, weed anytime soon. So.
Right.
Enjoy that
Almost
stuff.
impossible. You'd have to smoke more than is physically humanly possible.
Yeah. So
I guess you could eat it probably, but that'd be hard too.
Yeah, but would that be more like choking on it?
You could choke on it, I guess. But that's not the same. Yeah.
What would be the cause of death from smoking marijuana? So you said like an excessive, like an ungodly amount. Like it's definitely not possible to smoke enough weed to kill yourself.
Correct.
Well, let's say hypothetically, somebody found a way to kill themselves with marijuana. Would that be like smoking to the point of suffocation?
Yeah, I could see that. That could be a possibility.
Right.
Or just like smoking until you fall asleep in your tub.
Okay. Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I mean, the point is you're not going to die from it. You're not going to overdose on marijuana.
No.
I think mushrooms are the same, right?
What's that?
Mushrooms, are they the same? I don't really know much about drugs to really know what you can't overdose. You can't overdose on shrooms, I don't believe.
Yeah, I don't think you can overdose in the same way that like you could overdose on opioids or alcohol or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, a lot of those like meth and cocaine, I think that's more of it's an overdose because of the chemicals that are in it, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. So like a stimulant like cocaine or caffeine or nicotine can stop your heart because of the stimulant. A lot of like a depressant, like an opioid or an alcohol, something like that, is going to decrease the rate of breathing, so you could suffocate and die. Like a lot of psychoactive drugs, they don't have necessarily a physical, what's the word I'm looking for? A physical overdose. Like you can't smoke weed until your heart stops. That is not a thing that can happen. You can't eat mushrooms till your heart stops. That's not a thing that happens. But you could have a psychotic break, and there's no way. But the thing is with cannabis and mushrooms, as far as I know, and I'm not an expert, I have friends who do these drugs and tell me about them. As far as I know, you can't die from taking them. You die from the effect afterwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if it kills you, it kills you because you had there's no way to predict it either. Like some people just are wired to have a psychotic break sometimes when they take these drugs.
Yeah, those, I can't remember where I heard it from. I don't know if I read it or I had a discussion with somebody, but because a lot of people are saying, when you talk to them, especially like my friends who smoke pot and they love smoking pot, no judging, let them, you live your life. But he says when I tell them I'm just not a big fan of it, they always tell me it's but it puts you in a better mood. It puts you in it just makes you feel better. It calms you down, all this stuff, blah, 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 which I agree with because I heard somewhere or read somewhere that using marijuana, it amplifies your mood in a sense. So if you're in a good mood, it'll amplify that feeling. If you're in a nervous or a weird mood, it could amplify that. And I think where your mind is where you're mentally at or even subconsciously feeling at that moment, I think that's where that'll start amplifying.
That makes sense to me.
An example I could give you is when I smoke pot, the one and only time I smoked pot, and the only reason I probably would never smoke pot again until I win the lottery and I know that I don't have to go and take a drug test at work anymore because I'd be my own boss. And since it's legal in Illinois, I would just do it just to see if I guess it'd be more like an experiment. I want to see if it's different than my first time.
Yeah. See if it's any better because you're not terrified of going to jail or losing your job or.
Yeah. So my one and only time I ever did it, I was 18 years old and I did it at a restaurant or a fast food place. And I was just so freaked out and nervous about it because in my mind, this is drugs, Right. And, this was back in 07 where I believe in 07 marijuana wasn't legal anywhere recreational. Maybe medicinal, probably medicinal, but not.
Yeah, like California or something.
Yeah. So I think my nervousness and worriness just amplified from that. So So I believe when people say it's like, oh no, I smoke pot because it calms me down, because it relaxes me. It's like, okay, it probably does because that's what you want it to do, and that's what you're feeling, and that's what your emotion is, and that's probably what caused it. But when you're a nervous person like me, who fucking, thinks about the worst possible, the worst outcome of what could happen, that's like where it gets a little bit. I mean, like, I got high to the point of like once I saw a cop, I wanted to go turn myself in because that's what good people do, So it's like, yeah. So for me, pot doesn't work that way. But like I said, if I won the lottery, I'd probably get pot and I'd probably try it again. But the thing is, I just don't think I'd be an avid pot user.
Yeah, me. I'm with you.
Yeah, just because it was never something that, like, after I did the first time, it was never like a, hey, maybe one day kind of thing. Even when I was laid off for a year and everything, I just never thought about it. I don't think it's my kind of thing. I mean, I barely drink anymore. I went to a wrestling show this past Saturday, and I met one of my co-hosts' dad for the first time, and he offered to buy me a beer. And I mean, I was more focused on saying no because I just wasn't interested in it. But I mean, he's a nice guy, and he wanted to, have a beer, and I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I mean, you're offering, sure. So I drank it, but it's like I'm not even a big drinker anymore. It's like I'm fine not doing it. Like going out once a month and stuff like that, I'm okay with it. When we went and did the vlogs and we had dinner that one night, I was fine with the one. It was just something. Just stuff like that. I guess I'm just not. I don't know if it's because I just drank enough in my 20s to where I just don't care anymore. But at the same time, it's like I think if I look at it, I probably only drank maybe like twice in the entire month of October, if that.
Yeah.
That's just because it's just not my thing anymore. So I don't know if I don't know if marijuana will ever be my thing. Cocaine will never be my thing. I'll never do. I mean, I'm never going to do anything that's man-made. Just because I definitely have a paranoia of that messing me up, especially being an overweight dude as it is. I'm not in the perfect health to begin with.
Right.
So.
Well, yeah, and smoking.
Yeah.
So smoking and cocaine's a mistake.
Oh yeah.
In the long run.
I really should quit smoking one day.
Yeah, probably.
I just like how cool I look while doing it.
Because you're standing outside and it's cold.
Oh fuck yeah! Oh, see, and this thing, like I know that I've been cutting back on smoking too.
Yeah,
because I remember like when I guess at the peak of my smoking, I could probably like I go through like maybe like I don't know, like a pack every couple of days. Like I've never chain smoked an entire pack. Well, I may have chain smoked an entire pack in one day, but that was probably like at a bonfire while I was drinking with my friends back in the day. But on average, I'd probably go through like maybe 4 to 5 packs a week. Now I'm down to about 2.5. So I cut it down drastically. I don't smoke at work. I mean, unless I'm having like a crap day, I may go out and have like one. I'll sit in my car and smoke and have like one. But most of the time, like it's my drive to work and my drive from work is where I do most of my smoking. And it's usually like maybe like 3 on the way to work and maybe 4 on the way home.
Gotcha.
And that's about it. And
it's not bad.
No. I mean, it's progress. I definitely need to stop doing it. I want to, put myself in a better situation in overall health. I finally find dieting that worked best. I found a way to diet that's actually working for me, and I want to continue doing that. My back problems that I've been having are finally starting to go away, and I want to get back to the gym regularly and start working out because I have the gym membership. I have people I could go to work out with. My back's not messing with me anymore, so I want to go back and actually utilize that. So I want to keep progressing forward. So, it's just staying on that track, but I know that if I cold turkey anything, it's going to be compensated for something else.
Right.
So if I quit smoking flat out done, I'm going to start replacing that with food, and so I think it's all just a weaning process. And, maybe one day I'll get down to a pack a week and then maybe half a pack a week. And then one day I'll just be completely done.
Nice. Yeah, I know that's how my dad described doing it.
Yeah,
where
or your
it's just
dad's,
like,
your dad's also an asshole when he doesn't smoke. Well, back then, he's fine now.
Yeah.
Once he quit, because I remember even the first time he quit,
Right.
back in 2007 or whatever the hell it was like 2007, 2008. It was whenever he quit smoking the first time, douchebag, and then he got smoking again. He was fine. And then I think it was probably maybe like at the most 45 days where like he was just like unbearable to be around because of his constant smoking to completely just done.
Yeah.
I think he probably weaned himself off in like maybe 15 days. It's probably been a little bit too soon, but he made it work for him. I think I don't know, he's 3 years, 5 years, something like that. It's been a minute now, so good for him. Yeah, I talked to my mom about quitting, and I think she was open to the idea. I was like, yeah, we could fucking do that together, because I know she enjoys having her like sit down and smoke conversations and shit like that. And I enjoy that too, and I know my dad wants me to quit smoking, even though he smokes. My mom doesn't care. I know my grandma makes a big deal about it every single time she sees me, but
yeah,
it's when it happens, it has to happen on my time. It has to happen with my choice. That's the biggest thing.
That's the thing with addiction that comes up again and again and again, is that you have to really want to do it for yourself. You can't want to do it for other people. You can't want to do it just because it seems like a thing to do. And people can't make you do it. It just doesn't. No. It doesn't take.
No, and especially when people are like, I think it was the time where, I think I said it on this on this podcast, but it's like, if I met somebody who didn't want me to smoke, then I'd quit smoking, because that's what they want, and I want a relationship to work out.
Yeah.
If I find out that I'm gonna be a dad, I want to quit smoking because I want to go out and play with my kids in the yard without getting exhausted and shit.
That's how I think 3 of my 4 grandparents quit. Was that they couldn't keep up with the grandkids.
Yeah, so it's like you sit there and you think, okay, so you're doing that for other people, but deep down you're doing it for yourself.
Right. Yeah, you're doing it for the pleasure of hanging out with your grandkids.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah. So I agree with you 100%. Like, everything that you choose to do, it has to be an ultimate choice made by yourself, for yourself, and everything. Because when people are like, do this for me and everything, it's like, why the fuck do I gotta do it for you if I don't want to do it for myself? It's like, it never fucking works, and it's weird because like, I like looking back on it, like dieting for me and weight loss for me is a lot easier when I'm with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And I always put on the mindset of I'm doing it for them. But I think what it was, like, I was doing it for me, for the relationship I was in.
Yeah.
So I could, maintain some kind of attractiveness. And I was like, they found a reason to like me. So I have to keep some kind of physical attractiveness. So I got to either lose weight or maintain weight, or I just can't get bigger. But it was more, I think it was more for myself, but having that encouragement was always good too. And I think that's why weight loss during relationships was a lot easier for me, because there was always someone there to encourage me and to motivate me and keep me in check and shit like that. My last girlfriend, when I did the keto thing in 2018, that was the best for me, because when we ate, she knew what I should eat and what I shouldn't eat. She helped me make things that I could eat and, keep me away from things I shouldn't eat. And it just worked because, she was, there to motivate me through that.
Nice.
Now, granted, she wasn't like the greatest girlfriend in the world because, we ended for shitty reasons, but I mean, the time up to that point was amazing because she was very supportive. Probably just, I think everything just probably got too real for her too quickly, which is, it is what it is, but I think that's been my problem in relationships my whole life, is I think I can just get too real too quick. It's just, at the end of the day, it's sad that Matthew Perry died.
It is sad.
It is sad. Yeah. What about you,
sure,
Joe?
Good dude. Good dude.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about, Joe?
Oh God. I don't feel like I have much to talk about, shockingly. I guess, yeah, I don't know. There's not a lot of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, news that's going on that I want to talk about. And I feel like, pop culture stuff, I know it's happening. Like, the Marvels movie is coming out soon with, like Captain Marvel and
like this Friday, right?
Yeah, I believe so. And I hear it's good, but I don't necessarily have a desire to watch it. Nothing against it. I'm kind of, once Endgame happened, I kind of lost interest in the MCU. You know, like it's fine. I don't seek it out like I did before.
You know what? I've kind of had that same feeling.
Yeah.
There were a couple movies following Endgame that I did enjoy watching.
Yeah, same.
The Strange Multiverse,
Yep.
I thought was really good. The Ant-Man, Quantum Mania, or whatever the hell it was.
Yep. I didn't see that one, but I'm sure it's fine with
that one.
Paul
I enjoyed.
Rudd and
yeah. It's weird to me because I sit and I look at what movies are coming out and what the planned dates are. And I don't understand. Like, so when did Endgame come out?
It would have been May of 2019.
Okay, so it's been that
Something
long.
Like that.
Okay,
it's been a while.
Because the next Avenger is not supposed to come out till like 25.
Right.
April
26, 2019.
So I don't know why it's going to take 6 years for the Avengers movie to come out.
Yeah, I think because they have to rebuild everything because like Black Widow is dead, Tony Stark is dead, Captain America is retired, and so that's just kind of that's like the Hulk is kind of retired, hanging out, doing stuff with She-Hulk, I guess, but not really doing the hero thing anymore.
Yeah.
So I think they just got to rebuild a new. They got to kind of start over like it's 2008 again, or whatever. And
yeah, well, Guardians. What was it? Quill, I believe, is done.
Yeah.
I think all the Guardians are actually done now. I think they're all like complete. Like, no, I guess not because I think because I did watch the last Guardians of the Galaxy, which I totally forgot I did. That tells you how great that movie was. I mean, it was good. It was good. It wasn't like the greatest. I think the first one was probably still the best. This third one, I mean, it was okay, but it ended with like, I think it was like Adam Warlock, Mantis, Raccoon, and Groot. Nebula. Gotcha. I think that was right. I think. Mm-hmm. I know Drax was done because I know Batista said he was done after this movie being Drax.
Right.
And Quill went to Earth to see his grandfather or something like that.
Gotcha.
But I understand that they have to rebuild the Avengers. I get that, but it shouldn't take 6 fucking years. I'm sorry. It just really shouldn't. And the fact that, like, they came out with the Shang-Chi?
Yeah, Shang-Chi. Yeah. Shang-Chi.
Yeah. They came out with that movie. Nothing about it since. They came out with Eternals. Nothing about it since.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's all these afterthoughts for some reason. Like, I think Shang-Chi came out like, 3 or 4 years ago. Eternals were the same way, and it's weird because the pandemic time he's throwing everything off. Right. 2020, 2021 is throwing everything off, so I don't know exactly when this stuff came out, but it just makes no sense to me. It's like it sounds like you're building these two storylines, but then you haven't heard anything about them. I don't even think they've even showed up in post-production or post-credit scenes and stuff like that either.
Gotcha. I wouldn't know, to be honest with you.
So it's stuff like that I just don't get. And I don't like the idea of Falcon become a new Captain America. I'd rather him just be his character, but whatever. I know they're coming out with like that Captain America New World or whatever. I believe it's portrayed by, Falcon being Captain America, and I think that's sometime next year.
That's from the comics, straight out.
I know. For me, it's just like, if Captain America's done, I just want Captain America to be done. I don't want a new Captain America. Same reason why I didn't want like a Batman with the Nighthawk bullshit or whatever, the new age, Batman. Like, when a character retires or dies, I just want that to be the end of that line, and then just move on to the next person. Even Spider-Man, like, they got different kinds of Spider-Mans, man. And I'm fine with that, because it's not, you got Spider-Man, you got Miles Morales, you got Spider-Gwen, they're all different, and that's fine. You have different Spider-Mans. Right. But you're calling Falcon just Captain America. Right. That's the part I just don't like. Just call him his name then, And he looks like Falcon, just with, it's like Iron Patriot. It's just an Iron Man suit that's painted like an American flag. It's the same thing with Falcon. It's like, why? Yeah. Just be Falcon, man.
Books. I don't know. I don't have a good answer. It's just what happened in the comics.
Yeah. Deadpool got pushed back. I guess a lot of things have been pushed back because of the writer's strike, because I believe that's still going on.
Yeah. The writer's strike is over, but the actor's strike is still going.
Oh. I didn't know the actors were on strike.
Yep.
Oh. Which one started in July? Was it the actors one?
I don't remember.
I thought I saw something. Maybe it was the actors one. Something happened. Something started in July. I think it was the Screen Actors Guild or something like that.
Yeah, that June 13th is when they called for a strike, and then I don't know when it voted, when they actually started it.
Okay. Well, hopefully they get that figured out.
Yeah.
I do.
I feel like they're almost done. I feel like it's maybe another 2 weeks, and then.
Yeah. Which one was it? The writers or was it the actors? They're having like one of their disputes or issues is with AI.
Both, but the writers, it's a really with the writers the most recent contract the AMPTP came out with was they wanted to be able to use actors' likenesses in perpetuity without extra payment.
Really?
And so they were going to use AI to like replace actors, basically. Or like after you die, they can still use you as a role without paying your estate anything. With the writers, they thought that they wanted to replace the writers entirely by just being like, we'll have a few humans who check over the work to make sure it's fine. But why are we paying people to do this when a robot could do it just as well? And the answer is that because robots can't do it as well and never will be able to, probably. Like they might get close, but I don't know. And even without that, like people need to work. Unfortunately, we don't live in a world where, a universal basic income and food and housing and all of that is just provided. And so as long as that's the case, people need jobs, and some people are good at writing and they should be paid for that if their work is used for it,
Yeah. I know those, cause, you don't have Snapchat.
No. I think I technically do, but I don't really use it.
Well, do you know Snapchat has an AI on it?
No, I had no idea.
Yeah, it's weird because, and this is why I thought that writers had an issue with AI, is because I could tell this thing to write me something and it can,
Yeah.
but I doubt like the emotion comes in. Tell me something to ask the AI to write. Like a speech or like whatever, just something.
Right. Like, give me a sermon on 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 18 through 20.
1 Peter chapter 4, what was it?
Verses 18 through 20.
Okay, so sermon on 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 18 through 20?
Yep.
Okay. Let's see what it comes up with. Let's see here. Hey, Travs-T. I'd be happy to talk about 1 Peter 4, 18 through 20 with you. In these verses, Peter emphasizes the importance of living a righteous life and following God's will. He reminds us that if the righteous are barely saved, what will happen to those who reject God's message? It's a powerful reminder to stay faithful and seek God's guidance. Is there anything specific you'd like to discuss about these verses?
Interesting.
Yeah. It's weird. Like, jeez, here, let's do this.
One fun thing about that,
yeah.
Chapter 4, verse 20 doesn't exist.
Ooh.
It ends at 19. I was just curious if it would bring that up or not.
Let's do this. So, how about we do dating profile? For Joe, likes, give me 4 things that you like.
I like tacos.
Okay.
Folk music.
Okay.
Bow ties.
Okay.
And reading.
And I'm just going to put on here for the hell of it, looking for hookups. Just for the hell of it.
Yeah, sure.
Let's see what comes up with. He's a taco-loving folk music enthusiast who rocks bow ties and enjoys getting lost in a good book. Joe's looking for connection and meaningful experiences. What do you think?
That's not horrible. I like that.
No, right? Ain't bad at all. Let's see here. Let's do, sure, how about a commercial for Travs-T and Cartoon Joe's podcast about, I'm going to say current events. I'll just do that. I think I did this a while back where I was like, write me a song for my podcast. Introducing the Travs-T and Cartoon Joe's podcast, where we dive into the latest current events with a fun and animated twist. Join us as we tackle the headlines, share our thoughts, and have lively discussions about what's happening in the world. From politics to pop culture, we've got you covered. Tune in for a mix of insight, analysis, witty banter, and maybe even a few laughs along the way. Don't miss out on our unique take on the news. Subscribe now and stay informed at Travs-T and Cartoon Joe's podcast.
That's pretty cool. That's
right.
I like that.
Yeah, I was sitting here forever just like messing with this. I was just asking like random shit. I think I asked it to write like a love letter to myself or some goofy shit. I don't fucking know, dude. It's just, but when I was looking at this, like, you know what? Like, this is something maybe I could use for a show like down the line.
Yeah, it's a fun idea.
Yeah, right. It's just like if I get like stuck on like show descriptions or like, you know, stuff like that. Sure. Write a song about this freaking show with Travs-T. And which, by the way, if I had somebody write us a song with lyrics in it, our show's pretty much set on rhyme because of this freaking show and Cartoon Joe. So
nice.
which I am talking with somebody to make us a theme song. Hopefully I get that figured out by next season.
Nice.
Hope you enjoy this song. Oh, Jesus Christ. This thing's got verses and choruses and bridges and shit.
Nice.
And they sent me a GIF. Okay. Do you want to hear the song?
Yeah.
Oh, you want a song about this freaking show? Okay, here we go. We're Travs-T and Cartoon Joe, ready to put on a show, talking current events with our unique flows, from politics to pop culture. We got it all, bringing you the news with fun and animated call. It's the freaking show. You gotta tune in. Travs-T and Cartoon Joe causing a grin. You'll make it. I don't know how this fucking. I wish they gave me a beat for this, but whatever. It's the freaking show. You gotta tune in. Travs-T and Cartoon Joe causing a grin, will make you laugh, will make you think. Just join us on this podcast. It's a freaking link. We'll dive into the headlines with our own flair, sharing our thoughts. We're a dynamic pair. Insightful analysis and witty banter too. You won't want to miss what we bring to you. It's the freaking show. You gotta tune in. Travs-T and Cartoon Joe causing a grin. We'll make you laugh. We'll make you think. Join us on this podcast. It's a freaking link. So grab your headphones and hit that play. Travs-T and Cartoon Joe are here to stay. We'll keep you entertained episode after episode. With our freaking show, we're in podcast mode.
Nice.
It's not done. It's almost done. Actually, it's just a chorus again. Join the freaking show. It's the freaking show. You gotta tune in. Travs-T and Cartoon Joe causing a grin. We'll make you laugh. We'll make you think. Join us. This podcast is a freaking link. Hope you enjoyed the song, Travs-T. Remember to subscribe and join us on our podcast adventure. I don't know why they sent that, but okay.
Is that the song? Is that how that goes? Like
it's in a foreign language, so I'm guessing like maybe they're including the beat. I wonder if like make it a country song. I wonder if I'll actually do that, but yeah, like I said, like it was just weird. Like this thing just fucking popped up one day, and oh yeah, so how about we give it a country twist? So I think that is the rhythm it's gonna go with. Okay.
Yeah, that's definitely not the words they gave you, but
No, I think it's just the beat it's supposed to go with. We're Travs-T and Cartoon Joe with a country flow, talking about news wherever we may go. From Nashville to LA, we'll bring you the country style, sharing our thoughts, making you smile. Yeehaw, it's the show you gotta hear. Travs-T and Cartoon Joe spreading country cheer. We'll make you laugh, we'll make you sway. Join us on our podcast, come on, don't delay. We'll dive into the headlines with a country flair, talking about the world like a country square. With boots on our feet and hats on our heads, we'll entertain y'all, nothing left unsaid. So grab your cowboy boots and turn up the sound. Travs-T and Cartoon Joe talking you round. We'll keep you entertained with our country soul. In this podcast, we'll reach your every goal. Okay, yeah, so... Yeah, so it's interesting. So I see it's things like this. I can understand why there's strikes and stuff with writers, because if I could do that on a AI on Snapchat, then what could you do with a solely AI piece of equipment?
right.
So I can see that. Also, I don't agree with the idea of using somebody's likeness without getting some kind of reimbursement or compensation to a
some
family,
kind of compensation.
it's that shit doesn't make sense. It'd be like, I think everything Elvis related goes through like a Graceland, foundation or,
right.
whatever else it's called, an estate, the Elvis estate.
Right.
So, like, if, I don't know, somebody decides to go put on a concert and they use a CGI or a hologram of Elvis and stuff like that, I think there needs to be some kind of compensation for it, because you're using his likeness in a way to promote your concert and everything. Yeah, so stuff like that I don't agree with.
Yeah.
I
like, it's cool. There's, excuse me, like in Rogue One, having, I think Grand Admiral Tarkin showed up, and also like Carrie Fisher's daughter played Leia, and then they superimposed Carrie Fisher onto her, a young Carrie Fisher onto her. Both of those things are kind of neat. Yeah. And especially with Carrie Fisher's daughter getting to play her, there's consent there. Like, it's weird, it's a little uncanny, but it's kind of cool. Mark Hamill's still alive, but having somebody play Luke's body and then putting young Mark Hamill over top and then having Hamill do the voice, that's kind of neat. That's a neat way to do a cameo. But I also think that, like, there's something, it's hard to describe. There's something that feels like it's lost in not trying to have somebody else embody the character in their own way. Like this idea that things shouldn't change, that they should be locked in place for all time, because we liked that one version now 50 years ago. Yeah. That is just strange to me. Like, when the last time that I can remember somebody just replacing a character without anybody mentioning it, like within the movie or within the universe or whatever, probably when they changed Rhodey out, when it used to be Terrence Howard, I believe, if I have my names right, and is now Don Cheadle in the Iron Man movies. Yeah. And like 10, 15 years ago, that was no big deal. It was just a thing that happened. I feel like now, I feel so. Chadwick Boseman dies, and now no one else can be Black Panther until they reboot the whole MCU. Yeah. And it's just like, that's, in some ways, I respect that. I understand it. He embodied the character like no one else probably could. But like, even 10 years ago, we would have just gotten a new Black Panther and been like, yeah, so this is Black Panther now. It's weird. It's weird that everything has to be the same now, or else a very specific type of internet nerd has a complete meltdown. And they're also the people who have all the time in the world to just be annoying about it. Yeah, there was the one example that comes to mind about situations like that was when Heath Ledger died. Yes. And was it A Curious Case of Dr. Parnassus or something like that? I can't remember the title of the movie. But Heath Ledger was in it. It was being made when he passed away, and his character was played by Johnny Depp, Judd Law, and who the hell is the other guy? Colin Farrell. Yes, yeah. So it's something like that. Like they shot all these scenes, and then after he passed away, they thought, we probably have to scrap this because there's more scenes we have to shoot, but instead they found a way to utilize Heath Ledger's friends, which I think Heath Ledger's friends actually kind of like either like did it without pay or took a massive cut to do it, to get his last piece of work out there to the world. And it's just like, as he traveled through whatever he was traveling to, wherever he ended up, he just ended up looking like a different person. Right. And that's like, that's really special. Yeah. It made it different, made it unique. But yeah, I mean, the Iron Man thing, it was unfortunate that they, the Cheeto thing, it was goofy. Yeah, I feel bad for Terrence Howard. It's a bummer that he, like, took a huge would have taken a huge pay cut so that Robert Downey Jr. could get a pay raise. And, but he also went back to school and became like a chemical engineer or something, which is pretty cool. Yeah, and I can see it from the studio side, and the fact is, like,
like from like a business perspective, it's like we need to keep the franchise going. This is the very beginning. This is what we have to do. But at the same time, it sucks on the opposite side of it.
Right.
You know, it's like, you know, you put this effort into creating this character in this first video, expecting to see it. I mean, it's weird though, because like, I couldn't imagine that being Terrence Howard in all these other movies. Cheeto did a great job, so nothing against him.
Oh yeah, no complaints at all.
But it's just weird. It's like I love Terrence Howard, how he brought the character to the MCU. But like, I don't know, like for some reason, every time I think of like, okay, if I could replace Howard in Iron Man 2 or 3 or Infinity Wars and stuff, like, for some reason I just can't see it. It's just something about Cheeto that I think just worked.
Yeah, for sure. Well, he is not the same kind of stage presence. Yeah. You know, not that he can't do it, but he's an excellent, like, wingman character.
Yeah, yeah. And at the same time, it's like, I don't know if I can see anyone else playing Captain America from the very beginning like Chris Evans did it. I don't know. I mean, if John Krasinski really got that part instead of Chris Evans, I don't know if it would be the same. Because, like, I love John Krasinski. I thought he was hilarious in The Office. I've never seen A Quiet Place, but I heard he did great directing on it. Funny fucking dude. Love his work. But he's not that clean-cut American look that you expect Captain America to be. Right. You know, he has, like, you know, his facial features are a little bit bigger than you would, like, nose-wise and ears-wise. So it's just like, he's not that clean-cut American look. Now, Captain America Infinity Wars, Captain America, Endgame at the beginning, like the beard and the raggedness, yes, I can see John Krasinski doing that.
Yeah, he could pull that off really well.
But, I mean, Evans just oozed, like, the American, guy, the clean-cut American dude that you expect to see in, like, a Captain America. Same thing with Tony Stark. Robert Downey Jr., I'm glad he got it over Tom Cruise because
Tom Cruise it'd be so weird.
It would, because like, I mean, Tom Cruise doesn't have that party boy-esque like feel to him. He just doesn't. I mean,
there's no amount of jumping up and down on Oprah's couch that really would convince me.
No.
He'd be a much more like psychotic Tony Stark.
Yeah. He if Cruise was to do anything, maybe Winter Soldier, you could probably pull that off. But I like Sebastian as Winter Soldier. I think he worked. MCU does a really good job as casting the actors for the characters they need based on the personality of the person. Robert Downey Jr. was historically known as a partier and got in trouble numerous times because of it.
Went to jail for it, I believe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So that made sense.
Yeah. And then I think Iron Man was his second or third outing after jail.
Yeah. Yeah. They really took a chance on him. And he showed him that that second chance wasn't going to be wasted, and he did a great job. You look at, Chris Pratt, he's a goofy fucking guy. Star-Lord was perfect for him.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thor, I mean, like, when I think of Chris Hemsworth, I mean, it's weird because when he was Thor in the first one compared to Love and Thunder, it's completely two different Thors. He, like, lightened up, became more laid back, not as, like, soldierish, which is weird. A lot of these other characters really didn't change that much. Him and I guess Captain America from the, the straight, clean-shaved, American kid to the rogue soldier, that changed. But I don't think anyone really had a massive change like Thor did, if you want to count, obviously, Hulk. But
right, yeah, Hulk changed out a lot. I mean, they literally, it was a different actor, but.
Yeah, and that's it. Like, they did 3 different Hulks, but only 2 of them are technically part of the MCU.
Right. Yeah.
Is it the Norton one?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, so he
didn't want to come back, so he recommended Ruffalo.
Yeah, Ruffalo did a great job.
He did. He's my favorite Hulk.
Yeah.
And I like the Hulk a lot. I've been a Hulk guy, not quite all my life, but a long time.
Yeah, I knew who the Hulk was, but I've had no no history of the Hulk. Like I couldn't tell you what Bruce Banner like in the TV show was like, or even in the comics. So I don't know. So my basis of what Bruce Banner would be Mark Ruffalo. Like,
Right.
if he's supposed to be goofier, if he's supposed to be more timid, if he's supposed to be more aggressive, any of that, I wouldn't know.
Right.
So like, there's no basis of, there's nothing for me to base it off of. Iron Man, I got it. You know, the party guy. Okay, Robert Downey Jr. Duh. You know, you look at Captain America, the clean cut American. Okay, from Chris Evans, yeah, that makes sense and shit. Yeah, Ruffalo, I think was a great choice because there wasn't a lot of origin Hulk movies. I don't think. TV show, yeah, but I mean the movie, I don't think there's really much of an origin. Captain America, I don't know either.
Yeah, I mean the original Captain America had his origin, but that's I think the only one. I don't think they did one earlier than that. The Hulk, I think the Eric Bana and Ed Norton versions both were origins. I think.
Well, yeah, because I know Norton came out before Bana. I believe Edward Norton's came out like that. What was that guy? What was his name? Bana. What the fuck was his name? What was the actor's name who played Hulk that wasn't part of the MCU?
Yeah, Eric Bana.
Yeah, I think that one came out in between Norton's and Ruffalo's.
No, that was way back in 2003.
When did Edward Norton do it?
2008.
Are you sure? I'm assuming you're looking it up and seeing it.
Yeah.
Okay, because I thought Norton's was in 03. I thought Banner's was in 05, and then Stark did his 2008 Iron Man, and that's what led into the MCU stuff.
Nope.
Okay.
Bana was in 2008. Then Norton was in 2000. I'm sorry. Bana was in 2003.
Okay.
Norton was in 2008, and then Iron Man was, I think, 2008 or 2009.
Okay. Because I know because of Colin, I've seen Bana's and Norton's Hulks.
Yeah.
And I know Norton's was the one that had the Abomination in it.
Right.
Because they used the Abomination.
Well, I think they both did, but it was a different character, the way they did it in the Bana one. Because they made Brian Banner, his father, the Abomination, I think, in the 2003.
Okay.
Weird choice.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to go. I'm not gonna go watch them, but I have to go look them up because I know Norton's was the one they used because I know that. But yeah, because the Abomination was in both, but the Abomination did not look the same.
Right.
Yeah. But I know they're using Abomination also in She-Hulk.
Right.
And
that's the same Abomination as the 2008.
Yeah, the Norton one.
Yeah.
And I
think it's the same actor too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the same actor from 2008 that's in She-Hulk. And I think the Hulk that's in the Banner one, I think actually looks more like an actual. It looks similar more to Hulk than it does its own kind of creature. If I remember, like I said, I haven't watched it in probably like 7 years, but now it's just called The Incredible Hulk, right?
Yeah, I think so.
2004 film. Oh, that's The Incredibles. What the hell are you doing, Travis?
Oh no, The Incredible Hulk is 2008. I think it's just The Hulk.
Oh, okay.
Nope, it's just Hulk. There is no the.
In 03. Okay. Yeah, okay, because this is when he's like getting shot at, and yeah. Show me the Abomination, though. I want an Abomination. Oh, okay, so this is when I was. So So in the 2003 one is where he looks more fish-like, just like fins and shit on him.
That sounds right.
And in 08 is where he looks more alien-like, and that's the one that they used in the She-Hulk. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes a little more sense. So I guess in Marvel Contest of Champions, that app that I play, I guess the Abomination that's in there was the one that was more related to the 2003 one. I'm guessing that's the one that's probably more related to the comic book.
I think so.
Okay. It's weird that they didn't use the same kind of Abomination characters or the same appearance.
Yeah, it was a weird time. I think they were. It's kind of, I think, for the same reason that Thor looked so bad in his first movie, is they were trying to make it like seem more realistic or something.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I mean, Thor looks terrible with that platinum blonde hair and eyebrows that are so fair you can't see them.
Yep. Yeah. You know what I want? I want a multiverse Hulk movie with all three Hulks.
Yes, please. Sign me up.
Just like they did with Spider-Man. I think that would have been pretty fun. Could you imagine if they just included that in some way in that Spider-Man multiverse movie?
Gosh, that'd be great.
Like they just fall through a hole and fucking Norton's there. And he just hulks out. But the thing is, like, you don't get updated CGI Hulks. Like, they manufactured the exact image they looked in 03 and 08.
That'd be incredible. Like, because it just look terrible.
Yeah, like the 03.
Or you only see him in shadow.
Well, when you look at it, it looks like the 03 Hulk looks like a character out of Minecraft. It's all boxy and shit.
The height of CGI at the time.
The one thing I love about doing podcasting, and I'm going to carry it over from the JFW podcast, is I'm saying now, if 5 years from now, I want you to remember this, Joe, within the next 5 or so years, if you see Disney announcing a multiverse Hulk movie, just know that they took it from us.
Yep.
Our idea. Joe, what are you freaking thinking about?
I am freaking thinking about Marvel shows. So last week I was on vacation. I had a nice little trip out to Pennsylvania with some friends, and we drank some beers and watched some TV, some Lord of the Rings, the extended editions.
Solid.
Which I've never done before, and it was great. I really liked them. I understand why people like them so much, and rewatch those instead of watching the theatrical version. It was a good time. When I got back, there's a show on Amazon I've been watching called Gen V. I think I mentioned it on our last, the Freak Show mentioned it on a recent episode. Yeah. But they just had their season finale, and it was great. Can't wait for the next season. Invincible, which is an animated superhero show on Amazon, is back. I guess we're doing one episode a week now again, which seems dumb, but whatever. At least I can go back and watch them all at once if I want to. But anyway, Invincible's back, and I enjoyed that. What else? Loki season 2 just dropped, and I watched most of that today. The finale comes out this Thursday. Looking forward to that.
I heard it wasn't as good as the first season.
I liked it better than the first season.
Yeah.
But I could see why somebody wouldn't.
Okay. I like the fact that the MCU is incorporating their streaming shows into their movies as well. Like, it's all tying together. So, and it's a great way to market your shit. Like, if you want to know everything that's going on, you have to watch everything that we're putting out.
Yeah.
Especially when they found a way to incorporate the what ifs with the zombie Strange and shit.
Awesome. Yeah. Loved it. Thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, I'm excited for more of the what ifs to come out. I think that's coming out next year. No, it's coming out the end of I think December 21st is the second season of What If.
Oh, nice. Sweet. I can't wait. I liked the first season a lot.
Yeah, I think the next season is coming out. I think it's December 21st of this year. I'm hoping I'm right, but I'm pretty sure it's what it is.
Nice. Yeah. So just I don't know. We're in a little bit of a fall TV I don't want to say resurgence. That doesn't feel right, but I'm really enjoying. It's been a long time since there's been a lot of shows on that I wanted to watch all of them.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's been like one show at a time for a long time, and it's like, oh man, I got to see all 6 of these right now, and they're all fantastic. They're all equally good. So happy about it. What about you? What are you freaking thinking about?
I think I mentioned it before. There's a podcast out there with the cast of Boy Meets World, and they're going back and watching Boy Meets World episodes and recapping them. It's called Pod Meets World, and it's hosted by Ryder Strong, Daniel Fishel, and Will Friedle, who played Sean, Topanga, and Eric, respectively, on the show.
Excellent.
And did I use the word right, respectively? Like, in the same order? Okay, perfect. Yep. Excellent. At the very beginning, when they first started releasing the show, and I was really far behind. I kind of got away from it for a minute, and I'm starting to catch up. And I noticed something strange as I'm moving through these, and their shows are maybe about an hour long, with like 15 minutes of commercials in it and shit, but I could skip through it. So I could get through a show on my way to work and another show on my way home from work. So I'm going back and forth, and I'm only listening to the recap episodes. Like, they have like former guests and stuff on. They do interviews on separate episodes, but I'm not listening to those. I'm only listening to the breakdown of the episodes. And I noticed in the very beginning, I enjoyed it because, they talked about go behind the scenes, like, oh, what you didn't know was this, and what's very cool about this, and I can't believe I don't remember this and all. But one thing I realized, as they're moving forward, and I'm not sure I'm not sure if there's a reason for it or not, or maybe I just didn't realize it until now, but they spend a lot of time talking about how embarrassed and somewhat disgusted in the show.
Huh.
And because there I guess the best example I can think of was in the first episode of season 2 of Boy Meets World. Granted, this was back in the mid-90s. The boys start high school, or 7th grade, whatever it is, but their first year of high school is 7th grade, and they bump into Topanga, and Sean makes a joke about well, Topanga, summer was good for you, or something like that, implying that she developed her body. Watching it just, to me, maybe I'm the horrible person, but to me it doesn't seem like that big of a deal. But the way they talk about it on the show, and they describe it as who they are now, they say like, that's kind of embarrassing, that's kind of, creepy, that's kind of gross, and they use words like that, and I was like, well, I think you guys are looking way too much into this. When you sit and you look at a show from the 90s and you're trying to break it down in 2023, it's like the change of society, really affects I guess people's attitudes of their shows back in the day. And I've seen it listed. I was like, I'd rather you guys talk about how much fun you had on the sets, not tearing apart, these stories and everything, just because it's a different world now. It's a different life that we live in. I love Boy Meets World, and all the stuff that they keep saying is not funny or dumb. And those were funny because they were funny because they were supposed to be dumb. So it disappoints me a little to listen to the show just because they kind of have a 2023 mindset going into breaking down a show from 1994. Another example was when same episode, when they first met, I think his name's Ethan Suplee, if you know who that is.
Nope.
So he played Frankie on Boy Meets World, but he was also the brother of Earl on My Name is Earl. He was also the really heavy white dude in Remember the Titans.
No idea.
Okay.
Sorry.
Anyways, no, you're fine. Big dude. He actually lost a shit ton of weight. It's actually impressive. I want to look into what he did because I'd like to mimic that because he was a really, really heavy dude and he got into a lot of shape.
I looked him up on IMDb and I recognize his face now.
Okay.
I never knew his name.
Yeah. I think it's Ethan Suplee or something like that.
Yep.
So there was a scene in Boy Meets World where, and this is obviously back in the 90s. It's him and he was like a bully along with this other smaller kid. And I forget what the smaller kid said, but the smaller kid said something to Frankie about like beating up like Corey or something like that. And the way it was said and the way Frankie interpreted it, he's like, what are you doing? Call me gay? And then Frankie goes to walk away and the kid's like, where are you going? He's like, I just need a minute, and walked away. And the situation, it was kind of fucking funny. But they were talking about how cringy it was because they used jokes like that. Mm-hmm. I was like, but that was what the 90s was. It was just a different time. You know, everyone knows not to do stuff like that nowadays. I don't do stuff like that nowadays.
Yeah.
You know, and it just bummed me out. Just like, I was like, man, like I really would love to have watched, because I grew up watching these guys put on this show that I love that they did. But now it seems like every episode I listen to, they're just bastardizing all of it. Like, it's like they hate more of it than they enjoy of it. And I was like, man, that's my fucking childhood that I grew up on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just sucked. I've been thinking about that for like probably the last like week. I'm just like, every time I listen to the show and you get like either Topanga or Eric or Sean, more or less just saying like, this was uncomfortable. This was embarrassing. This was horrifying. I'm just like, yeah, but it's like that because it's supposed to be like that in a sense. You know, it's like, and it's weird because like, it seemed like, and maybe it's like, to me, it wasn't that big of a deal, like on certain situations. I mean, there were more than just those two circumstances.
Right, yeah.
But I'm looking at it as it's like maybe the difference is it's like I could be more relatable to it because I think that the people who wrote the stories and wrote it all out, wrote it for people more like, I guess, my class of people, like middle class people, to where I think child actors who grew up in like Hollywood didn't like see situations like that happen in schools and stuff.
Right.
To where, like, in the 90s...
Or if it happened to them.
Yeah. You know, like, I mean, and obviously, like, you know, you hear a lot of stories about, you know, the hardships of child actors and what they go through and everything. But they seem pretty protected compared to, like, kids out in the real world in the, you know, the mid to late 90s in schools and stuff like that. So it's like, I guess, like, so I was looking at it that way. It was like, they're probably giving their opinions because they don't really know what it was like. And if that's the case, then it is what it is. Because, I mean, I think realistically they're only like maybe like 6 or 7 years older than me. And the entire time they were doing this, you know, they were doing this show from junior high up until they got into like their early 20s. So they really didn't have to go through like the high school and junior high aspect of it. So what they're portraying on TV, they didn't actually go through.
Right.
So, and then like, okay, so if I look at it that way, you know, they're entitled to their own opinion. They're especially entitled to their own opinion on their own shit. That's fine. But it's just, I'm at a point now where I'm just like, do I want to keep listening to this because there are entertaining, like the entertaining points outweigh the disappointing points of the show for me.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, do I just want to enjoy the entertainment, you know, and accept the disappointment? Or do I just cut it off completely in fear that they're going to ruin this show for me? Because I felt like, man, I want to go back and rewatch this show, but I don't want to watch season 1. I want to start season 2. But now I'm wondering, like, if I keep going, am I eventually going to not want to watch season 2 anymore?
Right.
You know, it's just weird things like that. They're slowly ruining the show for me, and it's all because, they just took, you know, the mindset of today and they're tearing apart, you know, the 90s, and I like shows from the 90s.
Yeah.
You know,
I have no context. I watched like Boy Meets World a little bit or whatever, but I never watched it enough to like know what episode you're referencing.
Yeah.
But I do know, like, there are lots of women in Hollywood from like the beginning of Hollywood to the present who have, as soon as they were able to, talked about how uncomfortable they felt in the situations where they had things about their bodies. Like, that's not an unusual story.
Yeah.
But the rest of it, I don't know, you know.
Well, yeah, so the best way I can tell you, if you ever get a chance, watch, if you ever do get a chance, and I may not be explaining it right, because it's not so much them talking about them, like their real life them, but like their character them. Like there was a joke about, so the way I looked at it was, the way I saw it was, these are 13-year-old kids going through developmental points of their lives. So there's these two young kids who've never seen a cute girl develop.
Right.
So the one guy says to her, like, wow, summer was good to you. Implying that she developed. And that's where it kind of like ended. Like that was, it was like, they're talking, that was the end of the joke. To me, that was funny because I remember those experiences in school with my friends, looking at cute girls at that age. To me, that made sense. That's just developmental hormones, shit like that.
Gotcha.
So like when I see that stuff like on TV shows, it's relatable because that's what I remember school being like, going around and, you never really notice the girls at first because that's not what's on your mind. But as soon as you go through, puberty and hormones and everything, now you're starting to check out girls a little bit more and stuff. So that's where it became relatable. But then you get, these adults in their 40s who recap their own lives saying that like it's creepy. And it's like, okay, I'm losing the whole creepy part of this. Like it's not.
How old were the actors when they were playing the characters they were playing?
I think 14.
Oh, okay, so they were the same age as their characters.
I believe so, yeah. 13
Gotcha.
14, 13 or 14, somewhere around there, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, like it's not like, like these male students were holding down this female student or like grabbing her or groping her or something like that. There was a brief moment where Topanga walks up, they jaw drop, say, wow, Summer looked good, Summer was good for you, made the joke, and then that was about it. Or like, I think what she said, like when Sean said that, because Sean was wearing like these fake sideburns to look older. And Topanga made the joke about like, yeah, at least what I grew was real, and then ripped the sideburns off his head. So, like, to me, that's funny. It was a funny joke. She played off of what he said and vice versa and everything.
Sure.
But I mean, they were just discussing like it was fucking creepy, and I was like
they were uncomfortable as kids going through that, or they're like as adults looking back on it, like that's kind of weird.
As adults looking at that scene, like it was an uncomfortable scene to put in. The way they were, there was an uncomfortable scene putting it in a kid's show. But I think season 2 of Boy Meets World, and they described it as like season 2 is a lot different than season 1. It's like it almost wasn't like a kid's show. It wasn't like a 5-6-year-old show. It was like a teenager show at that point. Because it's supposed to be relatable to teenagers going through what they were at school. And that's why I related to it. That's why it's like yeah, like me and my friends, we checked out girls. It's like, oh shit, like hormones, like I said. But it wasn't like, like it, like I said, it was just weird to me. If the best way I can describe it to you, if you ever have a moment, if you have 2 hours out of your life to see what I'm talking about, and maybe you can explain it better to me, is you have Disney Plus. So go Boy Meets World down there. Go watch season 2, episode 1 of Boy Meets World. Watch that episode. And then go to Pod Meets World. I listened to it on Spotify, and listen to episode 201, First Day of High School. I believe it's called. And I think it's like an hour long, but you can like fast forward through the commercials, so it's maybe about 45 minutes. If you could, for me, if you ever find out, watch that show or watch that episode and listen to that podcast after. And I just want your opinion on it, and we don't have to discuss it any further on this show, but at least you tell me, like, am I wrong to think that they're overthinking these scenes and making it seem worse than it actually was?
Right.
So
I'll give it a look.
Yeah. I mean, I value your opinion on it, and I think you have an idea of what I'm saying, but I just may not be describing.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like I have an idea of what you're saying, but I'm afraid that I'm like not getting it well enough to like be able to weigh in like usefully. No,
and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like I might be
like to me, I almost like you're. How do I want to say it? Like if I were to take the most extreme position on one side, it sounds like the way that you're explaining it sounds like you're coming at it like you're. I don't want to say it like I don't think you're a bad guy, but I could hear someone thinking like, wow, this guy's a bad guy. And it's like, I know you're not a bad guy.
Yeah.
You know, so like I must not be hearing this right. And then on the other side of it, it's like, well, shit, well, maybe they did take it too far with like modern view, you know, and I just don't know. I don't know. I just have to listen to it. Like I know you're a good guy and I know you're not like creeping on 14-year-old girls or anything.
No. See, and the thing is like, and like I said, maybe I'm not wording it right, and maybe our listeners are going to be confused on it. Like I said, like it's when they discuss it, it just seems like it's like they're interpreting like even in that time, like it was just an inappropriate joke and stuff like that. And it's like, it's like I can understand why they're saying it, but when you sit and look at it, like it's a show made for teenagers, showing teenage situations, and to me, I believe they did it in the best way possible. They implied that the kids are going through changes and they're noticing girls a lot more.
Right, they're noticing really each other are going through changes.
Yeah. So like I said, and they did it without the use of fucking guys being handsy, guys being like. When they said it was creepy, I'm looking at it like, there's nothing really creepy about it. You know, they just said, the whole thing was like, summer was good to you. It's like, okay, fine. If you want to look at that as creepy, I get it, but it's like, you're going at it like they're like holding her down and shit. That's what it seems like they're implying to it. Like that's the extreme that I see it as. It's like I think it's like you guys are just attacking like these situations like way too much. And I don't know if it's like because they're parents, because they have kids growing up in an era and TV shows are a lot like I guess for lack of a better word, softer now. Because TV shows, like I said, TV shows in the 90s, you don't really see, I mean, you're not going to get married with children again.
Right.
Stuff
not on prime time. Yeah.
No. So it's like, I mean, you'll get on like streaming apps and shit like that. But I mean, like, it's like I said, like that, it's been over the course of like I said, the first season wasn't horrible, but as soon as I hit season 2 recaps, I think I'm on the 5th or 6th recap episode that they did. And it just seems like every time they do it, they just, I don't know, they just act like they bastardize the entire episode based on inappropriate for this time, for this era.
Right.
I mean, for them, maybe they're saying like, if this wasn't 2023, this is what's wrong with it. But when I watch old shows, I think about it in the 90s because the 90s was a different time.
Right.
It's just how I interpret shows. I watched a show and I remember it being that time frame. And no show is ever perfect. I mean, everything has changed. Everything is different. Everything, progresses from, what was bad then and all that shit. But.
Right. Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff I liked as a kid that I can't go back to. I can't tolerate it.
Mm-hmm.
It's super cringe now, Loved it as a kid. Can't stand it anymore.
Yeah, I'm not that way. Like, if I like something, I'm gonna like it. I mean, I'm not, there'll probably be things where, like, if I watch it, I'm like, yeah, that is real rough. Like, yeah, that didn't age well, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think, maybe from movies. I don't know if you're referring to more movies than TV shows.
Movies, TV shows, books. There's lots of stuff.
Yeah, there are certain TV shows, probably with certain episodes I probably couldn't watch because there were situations that didn't age well. And then movies like that and everything. But I think any show that I used to like, I could probably still watch. But I mean, a lot of my shows are like comedies and shit like that. Like,
right.
I don't know anyone who's gonna cancel like Happy Days.
Right.
No, I'm sure there's something in there that was. Oh, dude, Happy Days is fantastic.
I believe it.
If you ever get a chance, Happy Days. Oh, I Love Lucy. Oh, the classic TV land shows, bro. Oh man. But see, here's the thing. There's always going to be one thing in one episode of one show that is going to not be anything appropriate for what's happening nowadays in this world. And I get that and everything, but it's just like, I mean, like, these are like what I grew up watching. This was my, my comfort shows and shit, you know?
Yeah.
And that was one thing that like Boy Meets World was to me. It's like, I mean, and Boy Meets World was a little bit before my time. So like, I remember watching like the newer stuff like years after it came out and shit. But I mean, like, you sit there and you watch like the episodes when they're more grown up in high school about like getting busted drinking, or thinking about like prom night, shit like that. It was relatable because those were situations that, you go through as a kid.
Yeah.
Getting your driver's license, wanting to hang out with your friends, the awkwardness of prom night or, drinking, responsibilities of drinking and stuff like that, getting into college, like the more later on years, I think I enjoyed more because they were more relatable, but it was also the progression from where they were to where they got that was fantastic for me because they grew up in a suburban lifestyle. That was the TV show. And I did too. And I think that's what I loved about it most. So just to hear the actors talk about how wrong the show is. Yeah, I guess there's a small part of me that feels like, have I been liking the wrong things my whole life in a way? It's like am I looking at these through like fucking like goggles, like beer goggles, as if like, is this really a shitty? Yeah, is this really a shitty show that I should be embarrassed to fucking enjoy now? But I just don't see it because for me to feel that way is for me to question how I lived my childhood.
Right.
So there's a lot of different weird layers to this, I guess, like when I was thinking about it, but it just doesn't make sense. Like I said, if you get a chance, just watch season 2, episode 1. I think it's called, First Day of School. Watch that episode, see everything that's in it, listen to the podcast, hear everything they talk about, and
shoot me a text to remind me.
Yeah, because I'm just really curious on if I should be bothered by this show or if maybe I am right and they are kind of like overinterpreting.
Well, it's possible it's both, right?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Like I said, I mean, like it'd be one thing if they're talking more about their personal lives, and sometimes they do. Sometimes they talk about their personal interactions on the show, and that stuff I get. But when they talk about how the characters are acting, I'm just like, at that age, it just seems like that's what normal suburban school was. So,
right, gotcha.
That was probably my longest friggin' thinking ever, but I've been thinking about that for about a week now.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
Every week our listeners catch Cartoon Joe here on this freaking show. But you know what? If they need more than one show a week of Cartoon Joe, where can they go?
If you need more Cartoon Joe, you can find me over the Geekcast Live podcast at violentpress.com. You can also find us on Facebook, iTunes, Spotify, and Twitter by searching Geekcast Live.
Perfect. Guys, make sure you follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Make sure you go over to YouTube and subscribe to our FreakNet Studios YouTube channel. And, of course, you can find our podcasts whenever they are released on all podcast streaming apps, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean. You can even ask your Alexa to play us. She will do it. Guys, that's all I got. As always, I am Travs-T.
And I'm Cartoon Joe.
And thank you for listening to another episode of this freaking show. I'm out.